Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Subjectively Successful, where we talk about how I believe that success is subjective and how you attain it. Follow some rules, but being a terrible person is one that should not be allowed. Colin, can we agree?
Yeah, we can agree on that one.
That's why I say I believe that the next generation of successful entrepreneurs actually care about the people they serve and the products that they sell. I think that there's way too much social media, and authenticity is going to rise to the top. So that's why I named it what I named it. And I've got an awesome guest with me today. We've got Mr. Colin Laughlin of Bonus PT. Your hat is way cooler than mine. Mine's just Top Golf. Okay. I gotta upgrade my hat game, get my own logo.
Hey, maybe I can take care of that.
Okay, you know what? Let's go. Or if you have extras, I'll rock your logo.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, give me a bonus PT, and then actually my back and shoulders and my hips.
We'll get into that.
Honestly, we gotta get. Why? I played an alumni softball tournament 2 months ago, and I still have problems. I think I ripped and tore some stuff. I don't know about.
They can linger. They can linger. That's for sure.
Okay, so people are probably wondering, why are you talking about injuries? Colin, tell us a little about, who you are and what is your company? Like, what do you do? What's the name of your company? And why the heck are we talking today?
Right. Yeah. No, I'm super grateful to be here. This is the first podcast I've ever done. So, hey, here we are.
Here's a first.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So I'm a physical therapist. I got my doctorate in PT from LSU in Shreveport. So I lived there for pretty much 3 years. And then we're from Sulphur, so we moved back home. That's how we're back here. But yeah, the most recent venture has been starting Bonus PT, which is a cash-based kind of concierge one-on-one physical therapy, as opposed to your typical insurance-based. The biggest difference that I tell people is you're going to see me the whole time. And that's, if you've ever had PT before, that's a big shift.
Yeah.
Because in an insurance-based model, the unfortunate thing is insurance dictates so much of what we have to do to keep the lights on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I don't fault anyone in an insurance-based model for how they treat. There are a lot of great physical therapists in that.
But they have to follow, you have to code it correctly to make sure that everything gets paid for.
Yeah, for sure. Because it is a business at the end of the day. You want to serve people and you want to use the thing that they pay so much for.
Yes.
But there's so much red tape in dictating how you treat them, and ultimately dictates their results and their experience. So Bonus PT is essentially changing the experience of physical therapy and the definition of what is physical therapy.
That's good.
Because I'll ask you, what do you think of when I say, what's physical therapy?
Well, the main thing is most of the advertising and marketing around physical therapy that you see is like hip-based injuries, older people, work-related injuries, stuff like that, right? So in my mind, I don't go to a physical therapist unless I've been through some sort of an accident or injury.
It is.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the key. Everyone thinks, oh, I must be injured to need this service.
Or old. Not trying to be rude. I'm just...
No, for sure.
That's how the marketing is designed.
For sure.
Maybe that's low-hanging fruit. I don't know. But
it probably is. And they get injured more often. And there's a good amount of older people, right?
Yeah.
But yes, that hit the nail on the head. I must have an injury to need physical therapy.
Yes.
Which is the funny thing throughout school. They always told us, our profession, we're movement experts. And, going through school, it's kind of like, okay, I get that. That's what we do. We do exercise, we do strengthening, joint mobility, all of that stuff. But what makes us a movement expert, truly? If people, in my mind, have to come see us after an injury, we're going to help them move again. But the cool thing about what I do now is I can take someone like you, no real injuries, no issues, but I guarantee we could find a stiff joint. We could find something not moving very well.
Dozens.
That leads to other pains that you just live with because you think, oh, that's kind of normal. And the reality is you're not moving optimally. And if you can move optimally, you can avoid a ton of injury.
Yeah.
Which is very preventative. And that's the side where, oh, hey, I never had to go see a physical therapist for this extensive treatment plan because Colin screened me, saw this. We implemented a plan to fix that. And then now I've avoided potentially surgery, potentially a massive injury. And now I move better and I function better. I play with my kids better.
Yeah.
I do all of my life activities better.
Man, I love that you're even like using the word preventative, because I know that in the health space, it's like holistic and preventative, or, you know, hopefully becoming new movements.
I hope.
I mean, I really hope, because I hope that the insurance companies pivot too, to say, man, if we would invest in preventative care, it actually saves us a ton of money, which would be good. I mean, if an insurance company, what if they called you in a year and said, hey, you're worth what you're charging.
Exactly.
Can we send you clients? Like,
exactly.
What a dream.
What a dream. Literally how it should work.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about because in business, I bet you there's a lot of people that have, that in service-based industries, right? Or in care-based industries, you have to juggle between like what you charge versus what you offer, insurance, non-insurance, and like doctors and dentists, and everybody deals with it. It's like, what was it like? Was it fearful to go to a cash-based model?
It's a loaded question. There was some concern. But what I found is the fear is based in the referral. So, and like where you market to, right? So in an insurance-based clinic, you market to the doctors because they're seeing the patients and they're probably going to refer physical therapy or not. And usually the general pop, if the doctor tells you need something, you're probably going to do it.
Yeah. Especially if insurance pays for it.
Especially if insurance is going to do something. What I found is I pretty much market directly to consumer now.
It's a big pivot, huh?
It's a big pivot, but it's also been really cool because the relationship building is huge. And I believe that it's been a hard thing because it's like the growth has been slower. But I believe that the foundation is going to be way better.
And and I would assume the LTV. Do you know what LTV is?
Lifetime value.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Guys, you never know. Some people don't know. Yeah. I think the lifetime value of someone that you manage a good relationship with versus a transactional relationship with, way higher, right? So, and much better referrals from a marketing standpoint. Yeah. Like I can assure you, someone who gets like sent to me because someone else referred them, and it's like a quick fix that doesn't really align with my vision or values. But sometimes I'll just help people. They're not perfect customers. Right. Versus people that come and they're just like, I want you because I know how you function at work. I want your brand of magic.
Right.
I mean, they're stay clients for years.
Exactly.
And so that's cool. That's a pivot though.
Yeah.
It's
a big pivot too, because the job I had before this, I started a clinic for a corporate company. So I was doing all of this
for someone
else
yeah.
And with none of the resources.
Yeah.
No of the real big decision-making power, just marketing to doctors, being super uncomfortable and being super awkward. Cause it's like, this isn't my company. So it's like, yeah, I'm good. But like, if they don't necessarily agree with the values of the company, or they don't really care about, who you are and all of that. Like,
dang.
And that's where partnering with Jeff has been big, because Jeff's been in business for a while. And Maximum Kinetics is pretty well known, especially in the sports development world. And he does a lot of personal fitness stuff too. Like we've got what we call IDT, individual design training, which is kind of like what me and you would do, where the programming is designed for us and Jeff oversees us essentially. He helps with cueing and making sure you know how to do the movement and what you're doing. But the cool thing I like about it is it tends more towards that independent side, which I want for people, where it's like you are controlling your destiny. You're learning how to do these things and how to actually improve your function and improve your health on your own. Now, granted, we want you to keep coming back here because you should love the environment and you love what we offer and the community, right? That's what we're fostering. But in your everyday life, you're like, oh, that's what that does over here. Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's the link.
So here's going to be our pivot is if I were to look at your marketing materials, your onboarding process,
Yeah.
how you communicate with people, are you saying things like preventative, like relational based care? You're in control of your own destiny. Like, don't wait. And I would hope, like, say things. You shouldn't wait until a major injury,
Right.
to start physical therapy or to start a relationship with a physical therapist. If I go look at your Facebook or your website,
I would say I'm way better at it in person
okay.
because I'm bad at social media.
Oh man. So see, that's one of the things. It's a huge, it's a mistake that like people, it doesn't, okay. So it's not me like crapping on, it's a mistake we all make is we believe that our social media and digital presence should focus on like building trust versus it should be on likability, rapport, and closing a sale.
Yeah.
Because we feel kind of cringe. So people will go to a website and you know, it's like #1 rated in this area.
Yeah.
Right. It's what everybody says. I mean, honestly, look, if my hip is hurting, you would think I'd go to the #1 rated area. But what happens is if you don't prod the person's brain to insert themselves into a story where they seek help, it's one of my favorite examples is I love doing like a mattress store, right? So if a mattress store says, 5 years, no payments, #1 rated bed in the world, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, for some reason, it doesn't open our brand storyline. But if it says something like 2 hours average sleep improvement.
Right. Yeah.
Right. The instant I read that, I would be like, do you know deeper sleep can extend your life 5 to 7 years? Okay, now
do I need to do that?
Now we're talking. It's like, and then underneath that, do you wake up? Do you jump out of bed or do you roll out of bed? Right. And so you'd be like, well, when are they going to sell the bed? Okay, but that's the salesman's job. That's the email follow-ups job. And so I ask you that because I want to know, how do you think, you said you're good in person, but like on your digital presence, are you doing the old-fashioned way of, I've got this much experience, I've been doing it this long? Are you feeling like you're having to defend yourself? Or are you talking more like we talk right now?
I would say I try and be super authentic like this.
Okay, good.
I try to. I've done things that come to mind. I did a video about my evaluation process, just kind of a quick video, kind of walking through like why it's different and why I do it, how I do it. And to be honest, I'm really trying to create value there where I'm giving, when I can, free education.
Yes.
Because I feel like when you start learning from someone, you're like, oh, I tried that.
Yep.
And I actually saw a little bit of improvement. Maybe he knows what he's talking about. But even just, everything I try to show the services I provide, but bring the authentic value if I can.
Yeah.
But I'm by far not good at it.
Well, okay. So let's start. I go through this, like there's so many frameworks to success in like marketing, social media, right? But there's some core tenets and rules that it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Okay. So it's like, I look at it like this. Everything's a funnel. Okay. So at the top of the funnel, it's the first thing that people see or interact with, or how they're thrown into it. So whether you hand a business card, someone else hands a business card, you have to kind of sit down and design out if someone goes from stranger to paying customer, what does that look like?
Right.
Right. And it takes a lot of interactions. It used to take 3 to 6. Now it's like 12 to 18.
Wow.
It's insane. So somebody might look at 18 pieces of content or interactions, like a text to a friend. Who do you recommend? See one of your Facebook posts that someone else has tagged in, open a magazine and see your ad in a magazine. Well, that's only 3. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then they see you at coffee. Well, that's 4. And then they DM you a message. I know that you've had these interactions, and they ask you a question and you say, were you ready to book? Oh, next week. And then they'll ask you another question, and then you see them like 4 or 5 of your posts. And then finally you get the little ding on your website, such and such booked an appointment. But like, you can like reverse engineer to make that be more successful.
Yeah.
Is what I like to teach people. And so that's huge. Okay. So what is your most common way of getting a customer now?
Word of mouth, for sure.
Word of mouth?
Yeah.
Like, walk me through that. Are you actually going out and like knocking on doors and getting leads? How do you acquire a customer right now? What's your...
So I haven't, I should dive into it more for sure. There's no doubt about that. But I would say client referrals, and then direct from our gym side. It's probably my two biggest. And then the third would be people that I know. Like, I'm from here. So
of course,
people that...
Small town.
I mean, there's a bunch of connections. There's all of that stuff, which has been good. And it's, we've survived on it. But...
Want to survive or thrive?
Exactly.
That's that transition.
It's optimizing. How do we get... And I don't want just more leads. I want to get those already basically sold leads. Like, I want those warm leads that are coming in because they've seen what the vision is, or somebody's told them what the vision is. I had it this week. I had it happen this week, and I was like, this is what I want to be happening like every day. I had a client I treated 4 months ago, got great results with this low back pain. No one else has been able to solve it, so on and so forth. Great story, great testimonial. He plays pickleball, and then he plays pickleball with a bunch of people. And
there you go.
This one person started complaining about shoulder stuff, and he was like, I know who you need to go see. And then we get to her story, and it's like, she's had pain for a year. She's tried all of this stuff in this conventional medicine side of it. Ended up having a scope on her shoulder where they go in and they clean it out a little bit because there was some arthritic change and stuff, but that wasn't truly causing her pain. She gets done with the surgery, still has the pain. So it's like, oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
And then she comes to see me. We do the evaluation process where we dive into, okay, what are all the components to your pain? What's your pain actually feel like? What's it look like? What's your function look like? How do you move? And then we do a little bit of treatment. I'm talking like 12 minutes of treatment, like put some needles in her shoulder. I do dry needling, and then went through some corrective exercise. And I saw her yesterday, and she's like, I haven't slept like that in a year. And I'm like, she's referred me 2 more clients since that.
Can you get her to text that, and you can go make sure that she shares that on your Facebook?
Exactly.
Capture that. Know. But that's the dream, though.
It's a dream.
Okay. So let's engineer this, because I've got your Facebook pulled up, and there's something that I think we should work on.
Come on.
Is anybody out there that's listening? Okay. That is a basic dream scenario for like a small business. Is someone refers you, but they refer to you in a manner where they understand your value. They're ready to pay you the money that you're charging. They're actually happy to do that. They get results.
Right.
And you leverage the testimony to get more customers.
Yep.
Like if we could just do that on repeat, we'd be fine, right? So one of the things that I found that really, really enhances it is reinforcing your core message. It is many touch points as possible. And a touch point is just as someone's going through the funnel. It's every time they see or hear you or interact with you, it's a touch point, right?
Yeah.
And so like if that guy says, man, I played pickleball and I was so sore and I went to Colin, dude, and I've never felt this good. And he tells all of his friends, let's assume they may have to go through 12 to 16 interactions before they reach out to you. Okay. So what do those 12 to 16 interactions look like?
Right.
Okay. So if they go to your Facebook, how long do they have to scroll before they can get some trust? If they go to your website, do you have a...
I don't. I'm on Maximum Kinetics website.
Okay. So if they go research there, right, what does that scroll look like? Okay. How am I reinforcing, man, this dude he aligns. He's just as awesome as they were explained to me.
Right.
Right. I think of it like a restaurant. You ever go into a restaurant where somebody like talks up a bunch?
Yeah.
And the server's having like a really crappy day and the food is a little cold and
it's like, oh, that wasn't a great experience.
That was not a great experience.
Yeah.
Be honest. It's hard to shake. Like it's a deep seed.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That first impression.
First impression's huge. Well, your first impression isn't when they see you.
Right.
In person, it's when they see you online. That freaks people out. It's because you're like, oh God, but it's not as hard to fix as you think. Like right on your website, if I were to do a screen recording, I might do this at the end and just note for the editor. I think we could update your banner image for your Facebook. Your headshot is pretty good. I think you could take a headshot because you're going to get a lot of like 45 to 65-year-old professional men that can afford your services.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be your probably 60% of your business, if not more. 45, 65-year-old professional men that are willing to pay cash, right? And I think that your headshot, you're young. I mean, you're like what? You're 30.
I just
31?
turned 29.
29. Okay, right? You're a baby. I mean, God, I want to be 29 again. I wouldn't need a PT as much as I do if I was 29. Branding is really, really powerful, right? And so, like, if we were to update your headshot, work on your banner image, and if that banner said something like, I'm trying to riff here. Just really, really great image of like you working on somebody, high quality image, and had like a nice tagline on the top right that said, preventing injuries and living a better life.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for tragedy, like something, I mean, whatever, just really, really professional, good font. And they're like, oh, this guy's legit. He's not just, because do you know what your current one is? I don't know if you've looked at it.
Yeah.
It's just, I have no idea what that is. That is scary.
That is instrument assisted soft tissue mobilization, right?
Okay, that's a little scary. I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
That one, you're freaking me out. I don't want your black gloves. I'm like, is he cutting me open? Like what? So one of the secrets of just like marketing branding is, and this will help you a ton, even if you never talk to me about this again, is if you confuse, you lose. Donald Miller is one of the brightest minds in marketing the past like 15 years. That's his big mantra, right? And he's helped Fortune 500 companies and all kinds of stuff. If you confuse, you'll lose. So imagine every person you're interacting with, no matter how bad they need you, no matter how bad their body hurts, you're fighting the Amazon notification that their package just got there for attention. Now that sounds psycho. Like that sounds crazy.
Yeah, I believe that.
I can't walk. I can't sleep. Ooh, my Jordans are in. Well, okay, 45, 60-year-old white dude. My Cole Haans are in.
Yeah.
My On Clouds are in.
Yeah.
New golf club. Okay, right?
Yep.
Whatever. And I'm sure you'd help women too. I'm just saying. I believe in lining out whoever. When I consult people, I say, who pays 65% of your bills? I'm going to focus almost all my energy on them.
Yeah.
They tend to bring the other people. And people could disagree with me philosophically. It's worked really well. It's worked in churches, nonprofits, and businesses. So that's why I'm going to say, if it's 45, 60, 65-year-old professional dudes, you need to be him, sit in the chair and go, okay, I got referred. I played pickleball. I've got 5 minutes in between these two calls.
Yep.
I have 5 minutes. I'm waiting for my food to come out. Like, this is how I role play in my mind, whenever I'm thinking about what I'm going to put. If I had 5 minutes and I want to be like, okay, what's this place? Bonus PT. Okay, bonus. He said, go there. And it's like, he's still hurting in the car, right?
Yeah.
And he goes and he looks you up on Facebook. And he like goes, he says, oh, go to his Facebook. It's really, really nice. And opens it up. Boom. What is that? Brain calories.
Yep.
So you have this many brain calories at the end of the day after all your bills are paid and your stomach's filled, right? And so what we're trying to do is, how do I instantly, my hip hurts, he told me to go to this. Mm-hmm. What's the first thing they need to say where their brain goes, hey, you're driving down the right road?
Right.
Yeah. You ever been in a conversation with somebody driving down the car? You're driving in the car and all of a sudden the GPS, I mean, they could be like, I don't know if he's going to make it another month. And you're like, oh my God, I know, it's great. And all of a sudden you see the sign and you see the GPS and you see the lane you're in and all three aren't aligned. I don't care what they say next. It's not going in.
Yeah.
Like, because your brain, there's not enough. It's like, but you're talking and all of a sudden you get that bzz, bzz, that little like buzz on your wrist and it just says keep going straight. And you're like, oh, absolutely. Think of your marketing like that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And so for you, just like some quick tips is you're doing everything right. Confident enough to go, I'm doing this. Right. Confident enough to say I'm doing a cash base because it's better care and I get to care how I want to care on my terms. you shouldn't change your methodology or your mindset. You just have to market better.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
That is a definitive difference between like a shark and a minnow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm proud of you for doing that, because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
They'd be like, I mean, it was a cool idea, but I'm just going to go back to work. Okay. So you're winning. The fact that you actually did that, you're winning. But does the road example make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now every time you think of doing something or posting something, like you could draw like a little map in your mind or a funnel. Said, man, if somebody got referred to my site, what's the first thing they should see?
Yeah.
What if I pin a post at the top until you get a website, because websites are expensive? What if I pin one at the top where it's just me going, hey, what's going on? My name's Colin, owner of Bonus PT. And if you're looking for, preventative care, so you sleep better, live better, and avoid major injury.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to you. Like, you should go record that today, by the way.
Yeah.
Pin that
was
at the
good.
top.
That was good. I was like, I need to do that.
What is that, 20 seconds? You want to use this light? You got a big bougie light. Okay, we'll do a vertical. I'll let you have it for doing the episode. We'll do it on the A7C. Let you have it, and you don't even have to tag. You can tag me if you want to. Be like, Jordan, this is a great idea. Okay, so look how simple that is.
Yeah.
We just defined, this could be a multi-six-figure change. This is what's crazy about the world we live in. Changing a banner image, getting a new headshot, and just thinking for 5 seconds before you post. Wait, what would that guy want to see?
Yeah.
How would he want this video to start? How? And anyway, are you tracking with me? I think
my brain's just like, I don't know.
That's okay.
Like, I'm glad you do this and not me.
Well, it's funny that, shameless plug. This is why. So I'm launching a membership that, can I tell you a little bit about me?
Yeah.
So you understand so I have a background, and I started selling. I was always the salesman, right? So every fundraiser, I was number one. It's like, I want to be, because sales is cool, the notoriety. Oh, I get paid better, and I get everybody in the room going, oh, you're number one.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with it. Well, when I switched to, I was in ministry for 11 years, complete opposite.
Yeah.
There's no points on the board. Well, there is behind the scenes, like how many people are coming, how many people gave their life to Christ, but it's not like on a board that people can see.
Yeah.
I went from number one salesman at Sears to, if no one knows how great you are and you're great, you're winning. It's very unhealthy. Sorry for my ministry people. I think they push it a little too far. It's okay if people know you're awesome, because God made you awesome. Like, for the record, just after 11 years of that, I switched back to, I have a degree in marketing. And now as I've evolved, you see all the cameras, I learned in church cinematography and photography.
Yeah.
And so I do cinematography, but now I don't do all of the work. I have a production and media company. And as a consultant, something happened that I never thought would happen. Is as I evolved to where the one-on-one personal time got really expensive, and the cameras went from $5,000 to worth $30,000, the actual overhead just for us to hang out isn't good for a startup.
Yeah.
Like, if you were my friend and you said, hey, this guy Jordan, he wants to do some consulting and do these videos, it's going to cost 25 grand. What should I do? I would say, no. What are you doing? You can do most of that yourself.
Yeah.
By the way, you know what I'm saying? And so the reason I'm starting a membership is because I think it's crazy, but I want to have affordable interactive coaching, but a resource database for the most basic ways to fix your funnel. So, okay, I can't afford to pay someone $500 for headshots. Well, here's how to take a good one on your iPhone.
Right.
Well, I don't know how to talk on camera. Well, here's a good 10-minute video. I've been doing it 15 years. Just teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
And then go post in the group and say, hey, I did my first video. I think it's terrible. What does everybody think? Well, who are you going to do that with?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. And I'm attempting to do it. For the first 50 people to sign up, it's going to be $39 a month. Then it's going to go up to $97. And I want people to my dream is for someone to write a review that says, that $100 has done more for me and helped me grow more and build more than anything I could have ever imagined paying for.
Yeah.
And so that's the little bow on this is what I just told you. Very, very soon, I would have just texted. I'd been like, "Oh yeah, remember? Go search. It's got the Facebook banner, little video that shows you how to open Canva and like make a decent one.
Yeah,
and then a little simple workflow of how to make sure that your funnel matches all the stuff we just talked about. And so that's where I'm at now. Is after 15 plus years of I'm almost 40. I hope I don't look like it. I try not to, but I've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
And welcome to the evolution of entrepreneurship. I said, I've priced myself out of my favorite people to work with. Is I'm in perpetual startup mode. It's how my brain works. If something gets too rooted or too consistent, I'm like, let's go do something new. And those are the people I like to hang out with. And I actually priced myself out of being able to hang out with them.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we'll fix it. We'll just make it make it so inexpensive that people are just like, this is the greatest investment I've ever made. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing like even this style of podcast where I'm like, oh dude, it's so simple. Just go fix these 3 or 4 things and you don't have to pay me anything. If you go fix them by yourself and like in 3 months you text me, holy crap, I'm up $5,000 a month from those 4 changes.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
I can't wait to go high five you and just have lunch and celebrate it. That's enough dopamine for me. And there you go. So that's why when you hear me saying, let's actually look at it and fix it. And I want you to go, okay, that's actually pretty simple. But when you go, I don't know how in the very near future, like very near, within 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
I don't know when this is playing, but this might already be live when this goes live.
Yeah.
You would actually just go into your membership and be like, oh, I do know how to do that because you posted that 10-minute Loom video.
Yeah.
You just walked me through exactly how to do that. So there you go. That's my little spiel. But I didn't even know if you knew that I worked at a church 11 years. Most people don't. I don't know. I don't talk about it enough.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Did you know what I do?
So that was funny. As you were talking about it, I was like, well, it's twofold. It's that I don't have enough time to really dive into what other people do all that much unless it's like immediate need. Just because I'm trying to balance all of what running a business is, right? Mm-hmm. Between QuickBooks, my family, getting new clients, figuring out what's the best way to get new clients. How have I managed to do it so far? I don't know. And like walking through all of that, like that's just so consuming.
Oh, it really is.
But I've seen some of what you do, and I knew like of the consulting side. I knew of cinematography, photography, but I wouldn't say I knew the depths of like where you've grown to, right? But part of that's also because like this is the first year I've really cared about any of it.
I know,
right? Getting into entrepreneurship, it's like, oh, now I get all of this, like why people do all of this, why you spend money on it and do this and do that, because that's how you acquire clients and really ultimately spread your message and spread your impact.
Yeah,
because that's kind of the core of what I want to do. Is like I want to increase my impact, but it requires all of these other steps that you don't realize. And yeah,
there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
What and by the way, it's okay. I think maybe it's a living in the South thing or a church thing. Is if we leave small town, most of the people that I talk to who aren't from here, especially Lafayette, Lafayette, Louisiana, they're not afraid to say, I want to make money. And it's like a stigma here that if you say that a little too loud, like people, and I'm starting to really cope with and just be okay with saying, if I'm willing to deal with the stress that I'm dealing with versus just go and get a job.
Exactly.
I expect to be compensated.
Yeah.
That's part of the dream. I'm just going to be honest. Like part of the dream is that's okay.
Yeah.
Part of the risk is
the reward.
The reward.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's a good one. Because why? Outside of the impact and the frustration with the industry, Colin, why did you decide to go on your own?
Yeah.
What was the underlying like reasoning or thought process behind that?
That's a really good question. I could treat less people in the same amount of time and make more money.
Yep.
That's like the basic.
That's such a good answer.
That's the basic.
I could actually care better.
Right.
Like caring. Oh, hey, when you're talking to me, I can listen to you.
Yeah. I'm not thinking about the next client I have to go treat right now.
100.
Yeah.
you get full sympathy full sympathy for me. All my consulting contracts are more expensive in 2025 just because I've done a bad job of trying to fit too many people into brain space.
Yep.
And it turns out it's less valuable.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay, I'd rather serve 4 to 5 people instead of 20.
Exactly.
I think that's a great starting point.
Yeah.
Okay. So serving less people, making more money. What else? Like, what about
well, in the end, it's the time, because it's the time and it's the ministry. Because I mean, I'm a believer as well. I love Jesus, and I believe that He's all called us to something. It's just a matter of, I think, oh man, that's a whole thing too. I think that discipleship and ministry, evangelism, there's the word, gets a bad rap and it gets a bad perception. There's this persona of, oh, you must go to the mission field, or you must be a pastor to evangelize someone. It's like, dude, I can't tell you how many relationships I've built in the past year that have been more meaningful than anything else I've tried. And it's like, that's what opens the door to be able to share the gospel with somebody.
Yeah. Not shooing them in and out of your office in 12 minutes because that's the only way to make money.
Exactly. There's actual relationship built. And like we're talking about, LTV, lifetime value, goes up with that as well.
Well, of course.
Trust you. And if you are actually good at your job, you're worthy of that trust. But it's also the time. All we get really in the end is time. And it's the time that I want to get with my kids, because I know they're not going to be this age forever. And we get a very small window of impact in their life.
I know.
And then it's the time outside of that. It's the time to breathe and slow down a little bit, because our world is so fast, which is hard owning a business, because it's like, oh, I don't have a client. How do I get another one? Or what little logistical thing do I need to do now that I'm not with someone?
There's a shame guilt cycle there too, that I know that you're probably just starting to experience. You'll have like, your kids are doing flips or taking a bath and they're like, hey daddy. Mm-hmm. And I got a message about, hey, send me that invoice, or like our the way we structure our business is a little bit different. Like if someone's like, send me the invoice, I mean, it might be like $15,000. I don't want them to think about it overnight. Yeah. Like
I'll tell you that right now.
Like,
yeah, you can pay it now. Yeah.
That sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
Now obviously we want to evolve. I will 100% own a business where someone else will send that invoice. I'm training her now, actually.
Yeah.
But that's a part of entrepreneurship that is difficult, is feeling guilty for being distracted, but knowing that the distractions now are freedom later.
Yep.
So now you got to navigate that.
Yeah.
Right. And don't feel, man, if like in your heart, you're doing your absolute best. Your wife, I've only met her a couple times. So sweet.
Oh yeah.
Like she's like, so like, he's opposite of mine. Mine is like, you should have planned for this sooner. Put your phone down. Okay. She's a little more, she teaches 3rd and 4th grade. And after she's done messing with the kids, she doesn't want to have another one at the end of the day. Yeah. So, for you, don't let yourself fall into like that guilt shame cycle at all. Or if you're really doing your best and you need to answer that message, and okay, man, if I respond to this guy, he's going to show up tomorrow. He's a referral from,
right.
And you process all that out. It's okay. Like it's okay. I don't know about you, unless someone can email me and let me know there's a business out there that you don't have to do that for a while.
I know.
I haven't heard of it. Usually it's a gimmick or network marketing or something where you're like, no, in the real business world, you do a lot of relationship management
all the time,
and expectation management, like a ton. That's okay though.
Yeah.
Like I signed up for it. It pays better.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at a church before. Like, so I've gotten to like doing a month what I used to do in a year before. And I was like, I like private sector isn't too bad. It's not too shabby. I mean, nothing against ministry. I put my 11 years in.
Yeah.
No guilt. Okay. So, obviously less patients, better care. Fine. Less patients, better care, more money. I think that's like, I don't know, feels like entrepreneurship 101 is, if you read the definition, it's about, usually involves improving something.
Yeah.
It's not just always creating something out of thin air. That's more of invention.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is taking something that is a pre-existing system or process or something and enhancing it and leveraging it into more value so that you create value and then you charge money for it.
Right.
Right. And I like that you start very simple. I'm more valuable, way more valuable, but not just because of sitting in a room with me. No, the dynamic of how I care now is more valuable.
Without a doubt. So the craziest example is the last job I had, I was the only therapist. So that means, it was probably pretty good. And I was pretty good. I didn't have to balance as many things, but insurance was still there. And revenue was still there and billing was still there. So it was like, okay, I know what you need, but I have to do it kind of this way, because if I don't, well, then we're not getting reimbursed as much.
Yeah.
So regardless of if I was the only therapist there or not, it still hindered my ability to care for someone.
Yeah.
And now I've exponentially improved how I care for people, the interactions that we have, and I believe the results that I get as well. Like, you may pay quote unquote more for me, but you're getting so much more value out of every single session. That's as opposed to 3 times a week getting 10% value. You come once a week, you get 100% value.
Okay, if that's not in your website copy and like your emailed, my goodness, like you have to say, like, this should be, for the record, like that you should be on your phone saying, man, I talked to somebody and they said, well, why should I pay cash instead of go through my insurance? And I said, man, I understand that. So I just want to take 30 seconds to just explain my heart behind it before you even come see me. Just be authentic. Yeah. It's like, I would rather you, instead of getting incremental 10% better in 10-minute intervals over 6 months, I could spend 2 to 3 hours with you in 2 weeks and achieve even greater goals. Yeah. And like, be bold enough to say that. And there's some salesmanship there. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're not selling yourself, you don't believe in yourself. Like, there's without a doubt. So there's some really good sales copy if you were to do, because when you really get a lot, like you start getting a lot of leads, you'll eventually, when you go from hot to warm to cool, when you get to cool, you actually have to close people. And you'll sense it. They'll be like, well, how much is it for one? They'll have objections. Well, that feels like a lot for only 3. Okay, well, then you got to work on yourself. Okay, hey, I know that might seem like a lot, but would you rather go over the course of 3 months and not get results, or would you make a little bit higher investment now to see results? And usually after only 3 visits, and then you just have to shut up and let them answer. If you're not there yet, that's okay. That phone call, you're happy when you get it. It is terrifying when you start to get them. When someone is like, well, I think I know who you are because I heard about you. What do you sell? And why is it so expensive? And you're like, zone in. Okay. When you get that phone call, I hope you remember this interaction. You're going to be like, why am I so scared right now? Yeah. I should be happy. You're like, oh, wait, if I suck at sales, great. Another job I have. They're not going to show up. And you're going to go, is this entrepreneurship 201? Yeah, right. I'm my own salesman too. Oh yeah, for sure. If you're already there after only a year, where you're getting people a little cooler, where they're like, well, I think I need PT, and someone referred you, and if they don't start with, oh my God, I love this person, they said they love you, I think I need to come talk to you. Yeah. For the first year or two, that's what most of your interactions are. Yeah. I would say a majority. I've had a few. That's okay. I've had a few cooler ones, but
Yeah.
What, do you close them? Do they show up?
I'm trying to remember of specific examples. Yeah. Most of the time, I would say they're probably usually warm though, because most of the time I get a cool phone call and then it's like, okay, we get warm. Because for me and my personal conviction, I'm like, if you're going to come see me, I want you to know what you're getting into.
Yes.
Right? Like if I put myself in their shoes. If I'm calling a physical therapist and I'm like, okay, they're cash based, cool. Okay, let me call, see what it's about. And they're going to tell me what to expect. Like, okay, I'm going to be 95% more likely to go. Now that sometimes I get caught with like not telling them the price, or should I tell them the price of the evaluation? Because for some people, it's like once I get them in the door, it's pretty much a closed sell because they experience it and they're like, oh, this is worth it. Sometimes it's hard to convey that over the phone.
It is. Well, you could send them a follow-up, like some sort of follow-up email after the conversation that says, hey, I'm going to send you some more info. If you pin it on the top of your Facebook profile that says, hey, a first time consultation usually goes like this. I go through this, go through this, that, and the other. You could seed some more value. And then they might say on the phone, remember, that's what, of these 12 to 16 touch points, we either want to enhance all of them and assume they'll need that many, or increase the likelihood of your cost of acquisition goes down if they need less.
Yeah.
Right. So like me, I'm about to have 12 to 15 podcast episodes. It's going to cost a lot, but I'm not sure. Well, I'm trying to run 3 businesses. I'm not sure where it's going to lead people or how much traffic. I need to get the data. But if the data says you could have filmed this on your iPhone and they still would have showed up.
Yeah.
I love all these bougie cameras. But what would you do? You would film it with your iPhone.
Oh, for sure.
Of course, right? Save the energy or save the money. And so that's one of the things that we're looking at is your cost of acquisition and your likelihood of closing goes down. Cost of acquisition down, close rate up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what industry you're in. This is a good thing.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. So it's like now the one thing I want to stick in your brain is, well, let me go think of if they click or if they research or if they get my card.
Yeah.
How do I enhance? Let's assume they're gonna scroll.
Yeah.
Let's assume they're gonna text a friend and ask them, what's the friend gonna send them? Right? We're good? Huh? I said you can land the plane, but we're having fun flying. So that is one of the biggest takeaways from this.
I agree.
For you is, a lot of people don't think about that. We do it naturally because you're like, well, if I was them, you just did it. Well, I would be more thorough on the phone call.
Yeah.
If I were in their shoes, I would want to know more.
Yeah.
One little nugget before we land the plane, you were talking about telling them the price or not telling them the price. I would just like A/B test it. If something is under 150, if it's under 150, I'm okay with them not telling me the price. Because if I'm going to go research you 3 to 5 times, text a buddy, there's an understanding that if like I texted an attorney and he tells me to go see you, we have like a general undertone that $150 to $200 is probably like an industry standard for being with anybody in the white collar space for 30 to 45 minutes. Now, if it gets up to above 200, closer to 300, things like that for 60 to 90 minutes, or it's extremely thorough, make sure that you're not thinking of, I'm going to ask you what it is in a second. Hopefully I'm not talking out of my butt. If something is closer to 300 for 60 to 90 minutes, I would want to be told.
Yeah.
And I would want to be told, why does it need, because our brains, people with money, people assume that we just throw money in the wind. We're always doing math. And so just because someone does a little better, all your like well-off attorneys and people like that, they'll be like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal because their brain went and did all that math real quick. So that's one thing to think about is if it is, this is me literally consulting you. Say, okay, well, how much is it? You say, how much is the initial consult?
$250.
$250. See? So if it was $250, is it 60 to 90 minutes?
Yeah.
All right. So I have no
pretty much 60 minutes.
Okay. See, I haven't.
Sometimes it goes over. Yeah.
I haven't researched you at all. That was just a general assumption.
Yeah.
So At that, I would expect a little nudge that says they're roughly 60 minutes. We go over everything that we just talked about, especially if we've been on the phone like 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. You've told me about. Don't be uncomfortable saying, yeah, and that initial consultation is $250, especially if the person is a professional 45 to 65-year-old dude.
Yeah.
It would be weird to me if I went and did that and then I go up to the checkout thing and you're like, it's $250. Just me personally.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Okay, good.
I like to know far in advance how much something costs.
Okay, good.
Like, I got to think about that.
So that's fine. Oh, and well, this is a great place to talk about landing the plane. Don't forget, a lot of people, this is weird for me. It'll mess with your belief system. If a lot of people you're selling to are farther along their careers and make more money than you, you'll sell to them like you'd sell to yourself. It's a bad habit. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I thought that for like a $30-something thousand pitch that someone would need, 5 Zoom calls and 10 emails. And no, they just wanted one contact with someone else that spent similar money, the ROI, one Zoom call, and a couple text messages that says, oh, you'll look like this and we're going to do this, and a single invoice. And then the explanatory things on the line items, they were so detailed that we had another call for them to say, that is a lot of words. Can you break it down in my language? And so I'm thinking, I don't know if I can write a $30,000 check. I would freak out for weeks and have to talk and go through.
Yeah.
And so I was selling.
But you put 10 years into it and you're like, oh, wait.
Yes.
Maybe I would be there. Yeah.
Bingo.
I've thought about that recently.
So start selling to them like they've already made it, and try not to. Personal experience, legit. It was only like a couple months ago that I did it. I was like, well, okay, he's got to have this, he's got to do this, and he's got to do this. And they were just like, that's a lot. Like, geez, you must spend hours on this. Like, no, you just text me an example of what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And do you have anybody who's in my industry that if I wanted to ask questions, I could with some evidence? I was like, oh, yeah, here. It took like 30 seconds. Oh, that's awesome. Let's book our Zoom call. What crap. I'm going to be on their level. Like, let's go. And it changed my whole belief system. Every conversation forward, I was like, hey, what do you need? Like, what are your expectations before you spend this much money? Obviously, you can afford it or you wouldn't have got on the phone with me, but I know you have expectations.
Right.
Tell me what you're expecting. And like, I'm like, man, my shoulders feel real broad. That feels good. And it's been like 80+% close rate since that. So that's awesome. That's another little nugget for you. If it's a relatively rich dude that plays pickleball and he wants to be better at pickleball so he can smoke his friends, he probably can afford to spend a few grand to smoke his friends. That's okay.
Yeah.
Just be like,
that's pretty much the market.
And I would tell him, be like, Frank, listen, it's okay to invest in dominating your pickleball buddies. It is. Real quick, I'm going to rattle off my like a little framework. It's so ugly, but that's how my brain works. And then I'm going to ask you to do a quick promotion of yourself before we close the episode out. Is you can talk to me, and then I'm going to let you look right at the camera and just say name, your name of Bonus PT, follow me on Facebook, and then give them your spiel. I want you, after this talk, I want you to give them your 60-second pitch. Before that, I want to know if we covered any of this. We did, but I like to ask. So this is I was told to write a framework for success for how I consult and coach. And I think this is the framework for anybody in any business. There's nuance, but it's number one, you got to get good. Are you good at what you do? Heck yes.
As physical therapy, yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
I'm freaking good.
Yeah.
Am I good at social media? Nope. Well, guess what? I'm not that great either. Like I have help because it's not easy.
Yeah.
Number two, get in front of people. You have to showcase your talents for free if you have to. You've probably been doing that for your first year, a ton, right?
Yeah.
That works. Number three, build trust, reviews and word of mouth with influential people if necessary. You have 22 5-star reviews, so you should feel really good about that.
I should probably have more, but
it's okay.
I haven't asked.
Go write a little write yourself a little SOP to go capture them.
Yeah.
Like you have like too little to-do list. It's like, be an older dude who researches me and what do they need to see? That's it. And then get more reviews. There's your 2 to-do list. Number 4 is you need to build your confidence, your ability to pitch, produce better products, and price yourself effectively.
Yeah.
So you've came into this confident. I think it's because you have so much schooling.
Probably.
One of the perks of being white collar is that most people would have given up after 4 years of school or don't even make it. You invested how many? 7, 8?
Oh, total?
Yeah.
7 years.
7 years of school.
Yeah.
I think that's why you probably have more natural confidence and pricing than most people would, because you're like, I've paid for this.
Yeah.
Time and
Still
money.
paying for it, man.
Still paying for it. That's okay. Confidence and pricing, it's a bad habit for people to not just go, I'm worth something. I have to get better at selling and marketing myself and stop commoditizing myself. I'm very proud of you for starting there because it's huge. Okay. So you got to give yourself a pat on the back. We got to come up with like a joke for the show. It's like, how many pats do we get? That's at least 4. Okay. 4. All right. Built an online and personal brand. This is the step that you're on.
Yeah.
Okay. Is when you look at your digital presence as, if I were my ideal customer, would I see that and go, I really like this guy.
Yeah.
I really want to go see him. And just start analyzing it like that with the tips we talked about today. That feels helpful. Like if you, okay, good. And then number 6 is you have to stay passionate and persistent, because no matter how low you get, whether you're in the red or whether you're in the green, if you believe you're part of a higher purpose and a higher calling, you signed up for harder work, less sleep. You signed up for it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, don't lose the passion and the persistence. That's the only thing that keeps you going whenever this is not a perfect journey, you know? Yeah. And I think you're doing really good at that too. And the other ones is you have to learn enough about tech to DIY yourself to success online, because it's very expensive to hire an agency, and like services like what we offer, they're not cheap.
They can't be.
They literally can't be. Like there's so much overhead in this room right now, but you don't need any of this.
Right.
And I think until you hit like $500,000 in sales, probably just shot myself in the foot with a lot of business. But I really truly think that an iPhone and some simple to-do list and a couple YouTube videos, you can be successful 100%. So, and you need to find an inspiring teacher or preacher in your niche and learn for free as much as possible. Reverse engineer their success without their pitfalls. That's a big one for me. Is I love to listen to people who are like 3 years ahead of me, and then when there's nothing better in them going, don't do this. Yeah. Whatever you do, don't do this. I'm like, okay, I may not have the confidence or consistency to do your 30 million, 70 million, all this stuff. But the one thing I do know I can pull from you is the what not to do's. Right. And those are a little more attainable, a little easier dopamine hit. Yeah. Just being honest. Number 9 is get a basic but good customer acquisition system, from stranger to customer to brand evangelist. And so you have a pretty good one, but I would write it out. Yeah. I would actually say, how do I get a customer? You know, like, how do I get a customer? And so I did that for myself, and it's been a huge thing. I spent a lot of money on my website and put a lot of testimonies and previous things on there, because I noticed in my sales process, every time I had to retext or remessage previous work, my price went down. When they came saying, I saw that project you did with Hamilton on your website. Yeah, right. I don't even know if I can afford you. Well, you may not be able to, right? But guess what? That was huge. And so look, even me as the marketer, huge shift where I was like, wait a second, my customer acquisition system should include that step. They should be able to see all those things before they ever get on the horn with me. And get better, increase your prices, and be a better closer is step 10. So get better, increase your prices. I'm sorry. When you get to the point where you're completely booked out for 35 to 60 hours a week, and you can't see your kids, raise your prices. Yeah. Okay. I cannot wait for you to give me that phone call. Be like, I can't even see straight. There's so many customers. I'm increasing my prices. Oh, it's actually a really good day. And learn how to be a good content capturer and the basics of social media. Literally just the basics. And then step 12 is try the crazy because nobody else will.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of this.
Well, I'm glad.
Dude, with no help. Did you have a mentor and a business mentor, or you just went for it?
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Let's go. See? Podcast. There you go. There you go, everybody.
I actually did just recently hire a business coach for PT specific stuff, especially because we're bringing this together with the gym side and the PT stuff. So I was like, dude, I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing. So I need somebody to kind of like step me through it.
Yeah.
And it's been good so far.
Good.
It's very new, but it's going to be good. I know it is.
Coaches are good about helping you avoid landmines.
Yeah. Well, and they're all cash-based PTs, right? So they've all done it. Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
Yes. You'd be surprised what it's a good sales pitch I've paid for coaching. And the most expensive one I think it did was like $12,000 for a bunch of stuff. And I remember what put it over the edge. This is like 3 years ago. What put it over the edge was they pointed one thing that I was doing wrong. And they were like, well, if you're misquoting or underquoting and you get like 2 leads a month, wouldn't you make up $12,000 in like 60 to 90 days just by fixing this one thing? I was like, oh, so if I pay you $12,000, I'll probably make 48 more this year just by fixing
one problem
that I didn't even. I was like, what if they fix 10 problems? Like, right?
Exactly.
And it was It really was a very successful year. Shout out to Nina. She was amazing. But there you go. Okay. Got to celebrate you. I got to let you just go with the pitch. Did you find today valuable?
Oh, very. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
And I want you to feel like main thing is you're on the right course. You can run through a wall and feel validated for taking the risk that you've taken just as an entrepreneur. And I love that you're a Christian entrepreneur. I love that you're trying to balance family first, but still grow something really, really special.
Yeah.
And you, by signing up to do it correctly, it's harder, but it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Like so worth it. No shortcuts, no gimmicks.
Yeah.
Nope. If I'm going to build something special, I want to honor my family and honor God. The money will come.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've survived this year. So,
hey, trust. I posted a reel yesterday where I was just real honest. I said, my first 2.5 months were just paying off the Amex to cover the mistakes of last year.
Oh, yeah.
Because I finished a lawsuit and I paid a bunch of contracts to people that I made handshake promises to. And even though I was in the red, I thought it was the right thing to do. So I didn't get to keep $1. I started off the year. I was like, let's fix this.
Yeah.
And so I went and made a ton of money and I go, none of it's yours. It just paid off. But guess what? Clean the books.
Yeah. Clean the books.
By like the end of February, cleaned everything out. So,
yeah.
But there you go. Welcome to
the highs.
So, dude, Colin, thank you so much for being here, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks
for having me.
Like, this was really cool. I enjoyed every single minute of it. Do me a favor. Go ahead, right into that camera. I want to know, you look right at them and you say, who you are, name your business, how they can find you, and why they should go see you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do I start it just like, hey, I'm Dr. or Colin?
However you want to. So just look right at the camera and just let them know.
Hey, I'm Dr. Colin Laughlin with Bonus PT. If you want to prevent injury, optimize your health and your movement, and ultimately do everything better, I'm your guy.
That's pretty good.
Is that good? It's kind of just off the cuff.
If that's off the... Okay, guys. Y'all, 1 year. 1 year in business. Take notes.
Technically 9 months. But. Hey,
wear that like a badge, dude. I love it. Is just love your confidence, love your resolve, and the fact that you like jumped out the plane with half a parachute, barely. If that.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode. Make sure to take a moment to rate the show, leave a comment, and share with someone you care about. For more ways to connect with Jordan and his team, visit jsellers.co.